All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Warriors video. We've been doing a lot of Niners. We're going to do a little Warriors. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin County from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. They're open Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Let's talk a little bit about the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors season came to an end, very bitter ending, losing to the Lakers in the second round of the playoffs. And now there's a lot of speculation out about Bob Myers. Now, I put out a tweet and then I put out a second tweet after talking to people over at the Warriors. But the second tweet is not a contradictory tweet to the first tweet. So let's go through it. Let's review, if you will. And what we'll do here is just to let people kind of see exactly what we're talking about. We'll do a little shared screen on Twitter, and you can see for yourself. Okay, so there you go. And basically on this tweet, this is my original tweet, and it was basically I said it's so sad that owning the Warriors is not enough for Joe Lacob. It appears that he's pushing out Bob Myers to make his kid the basketball czar. This franchise once had Jerry West, the best basketball talent evaluator of his era, and now will likely have Joe's kid pulling the strings. It was a good run. It's over. It's officially over. Nepotism. The Warriors will become the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. Jerry Jones was a champion. Now he's just another rich guy. It appears that Joe is following the exact same script. Watch. And obviously it got a lot of traction, a lot of comments, 100,000 views, so on and so forth. So that was my initial tweet. And then I got a chance to talk to a source over with the Warriors, and that source told me what I shared with the audience, which got 30,000 views. And this one is my Warriors sources tell me that Joe Lacob has offered Bob Myers a mint. I'm not talking about a chocolate, a mint of money to stay on as the general manager, and that the ball is officially in Bob's court. I hope Bob stays. Stay tuned. So that takes us to where we are at right now. That's kind of where we're at with the with the Warriors and their situation. I mean, I'll stand behind both tweets. I mean, the first tweet was me saying this is what it appears to be happening. And my second tweet is my sources from the Warriors are claiming this, but they're not opposed. They're not like opposite of one another. It's not like they cancel each other out. Let's go through it a little bit. In my opinion, Bob Myers has had to share the front office with Joe's sons. He's had Mike Dunleavy there. And Bob Myers is such a great guy that he's been willing to do as much. But I really believe that as time goes on, that Joe would like to have his kids have a big say in things. And I think Bob would rather not do that. So I don't think it's about money. I really don't. I think it's about you have an owner who's a meddling owner who's got his kids now in the front office. And Bob doesn't need that. Bob doesn't need that. So I think Bob's going to move on now. And I do believe that the way it's going to shake out is either Mike Dunleavy, who has never been a GM before, and to get this job would be an absolute coup. I think there's a very good chance that Mike Dunleavy will be hired, but he'll still have Kirk and Kent Lake up there, and he's still going to have to listen to Joe and listen to them, and he's not going to have total autonomy to just do anything he wants. No, it's going to be, he's going to have to listen to those guys, which is, in my opinion, why Bob Myers is leaving. Now, Bob Myers when he leaves, is going to say either he's going to leave or he's going to stay. I hope he stays. I really do. I hope he stays. But if he leaves, he's going to say, you know what? I got to spend more time with my family. I want to spend more time with my family. The family comes first. And everybody's going to be like, oh, what a great guy. What a great family guy. And I'm not saying that that's not true. I think Bob Myers probably is a great family guy. I know that he's a great guy, period. But I'm sure he's a great family guy, and I'm sure he'd love to spend more time with his family. So it's not like it's totally not true, but that's not why you would leave this job. I think he would leave this job because he doesn't want to listen to Joe, and he doesn't want to listen to Kirk and Kent. And those guys are not basketball people. I mean, Bob is a basketball person. He played college basketball. Joe Lacob is not a basketball person. and his sons aren't either. And to allow them to have say in personnel, any say, even a contribution, is probably not something that Bob is about. And it wouldn't be something that a new GM, independent from another organization who had big time credibility, would be about either. So to me, that's really the rub. If you see that the Warriors have signed another general manager who works elsewhere in the league and has his own reputation and his own thing, then you can put to bed the nepotism, because then it's like, okay, some GM who's totally qualified and could work in several places chose to be here, and then that guy's going to have a level of control that 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 would make him accept the job. But I don't think that's the way it's going to go down. I think Joe is very keenly aware of how bad it will look to make his kid the replacement. So I don't think Joe will do that ultimately. But it doesn't mean that his kid's not going to be right there in the front office making moves. Doesn't mean that he's not going to have his own draft board come July, come June. And if you give the job to a guy like Dunleavy, who's never had the job before, in some ways he's beholden to you because you gave him a job that he never had before. You're creating, you're making him a general manager, and he's never been a general manager before. So in that regard, or in that situation, I think he would be beholden to Joe. And if Joe says, "Hey, part of the gig here is that you got to listen to Kirk, you got to listen to Kent, you got to listen to my kids, you got to listen to me," and I have my own opinions on basketball, and I have my own board and my own thoughts. Um, I don't think you're going to see a powerful, independent GM that can work in another spot take this opportunity because of how heavy-handed Joe is and how heavy-handed Joe is through his children. I really don't believe that you're not going to see a Monty McNair leave Sacramento. You're not going to see Jerry West roll in suddenly. You're not going to see somebody who's built championships and built championship teams decide, you know what, I'm going to go work for Joe, because I don't think Joe wants that. I think Joe wants to be heard. I think Joe wants a seat at the table. And it's one thing, well, he owns the team. So what? So what? Jed York owns the Niners. He's not sitting there making, we're going Jair Brown. I have him as my third-rated safety. Not happening. Larry Bear owns the Giants. He's not sitting there going, you know what? We're taking Kyle Harrison because he's number one on my board. Larry Bear doesn't have a board. I guarantee you. Jed York has no board. Joe Lacob has a board, and Joe Lacob's kids have a seat at the table. And so what that means is they're either going to run the show, or Dunleavy's going to run the show, and they're going to be their wishes are going to be listened to and heeded. And some people would say, well, it's not that big a deal. Joe's a self-made billionaire and he's got a right to do what he wants. I didn't say he doesn't have a right to do it. I'm just saying that it's nepotism, and that, in my opinion, that's why Bob's leaving. So the first opinion was, you know what? I think Bob's, leaving. And I think it's all because he doesn't want to deal with Joe and Joe's kids. And then I had Warrior sources, shout to me, hey, Joe is offering Bob a big money deal, big money deal. Okay. And that suddenly conveniently has been that little factoid of Joe is throwing record setting money at Bob to stay, suddenly has found its way to everywhere. It's SF Gate. It's on ESPN. Suddenly it's everywhere. I'm noticing this little common wisdom theme going, oh, Joe's offering, Bob a ton of money to stay. If Bob's going to leave, it's going to be about family. It's not going to be about anything else. Well, that's what they want you to believe. Because nobody wants to run out a guy who drafted Draymond Green in the second round for his kid who's never been a GM. And nobody in their right mind would ever look at Bob Myers to Kirk to one of the Lacob sons, or Bob Myers to Mike Dunleavy as an upgrade. So that they can't sell it as an upgrade. So they're getting out this notion, this idea that, oh, you know what? We've offered Bob a mint. And it's not like I'm saying it's not true. I guarantee you they have. But along with that comes, you're working for me and I have a say. and my kids are going to be involved in the front office, and you're going to have to listen to them. And they have a say. And I just think Bob's done with it. I think Bob has held Joe's hand long enough. He's got a world of great options at his disposal. And my guess, he's going to take one. And it's not, he's leaving, but he's not leaving over money. I hope he stays, and it'd be great if he stays. Bob Myers is a tremendous guy and, cares a lot about his family. But I think he's leaving. I don't think it has anything to do with the check or the amount of money being offered to him. He's made a ton of money. Bob Myers doesn't have, Bob Myers may not have this or that, but he's got cash. He's got plenty of cash. He's got enough cash and enough opportunities to make cash in other places where he doesn't have to do what Joe says. He doesn't have to do what Joe's kids say. And if he feels like that's part of the gig, he may just say, you know what? I'm that alone. I don't want it. I'm out of here. So I'll say this. Have you noticed I didn't take down my first tweet because I really believe that was accurate. And the fact that the Warriors reached out to me with, hey, you know what? Bob has, and Joe's offered Bob a record-setting deal. Okay. They're trying to spin things from behind the scenes to be like, hey, we didn't force out this guy. We didn't force out this general manager. Why they go in that direction? Because it's hugely unpopular. It's going to be hugely unpopular with the players. Draymond Green's not going to like that. It's going to be hugely unpopular with the fans. There's no fan out there that's clamoring for Bob Myers to go and Mike Dunleavy to come. There's no fan out there saying, get rid of Bob Myers and let Joe and his kids run the show. No. But so I'll stay with both my tweets. I'll stay with the first one that says that I think Joe's going to turn this thing over to his kids. It might be Mike Dunleavy with the understanding that he, listens and works with Joe and his kids, but it's going to be Mike Dunleavy working with Joe's kids and Joe, or it's going to be Joe's kids working with Joe. But it ain't going to be Jerry West, and it's not going to be, Sam Presti. If you went and hired Sam Presti, I'd say, hey, all right, okay. You know what? This is not about the Lake Up Suns. This is not about, anything other than winning. You hire Sam Presti, you want to win. You hire Jerry West, you want to win. You hire Mike Dunleavy, you want control, and you want to have a say. You hire your kids, and you really want to have control and have your total say. So that's how I see it. We'll see how it shakes out. As I said, I hope Bob Myers stays. I like Bob Myers. I think he's done a really good job. He's the guy that drafted Draymond Green in the second round. And it's not like the Warriors don't have other guys in house. I mean, Larry Harris is very qualified. They got a number of scouts that I'm sure are very, very qualified. But if they go, there's independent guys like a Sam Presti, a Jerry West, and then there are guys getting their first opportunity like Mike Dunleavy or Joe's kids. If it's Sam Presti, I stand corrected. If it's Jerry West, I stand corrected. If it's Mike Dunleavy or one of the Lake Up Suns, I told you. All right. Hope you enjoyed the 49er video, or hope you enjoyed the Warrior video, the one non-Niner video we've done in a while. Hope you enjoyed the Warrior video. And thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Check them out in Emeryville or in Corte Madera. And thanks to all of you for supporting the Krueger Show on YouTube.